Hi, I'm Mike, and you're watching Spiritual Combat. And the title of today's show is Physical Age versus Spiritual Age. And what I'm talking about is you see a lot of people physically, they're very old in years. They're pretty far up there in years, but their spiritual age or their spiritual maturity is they're still a teenager. And I've seen people like that been on the earth 50, 60, 70 years and won't face certain um, aspects or hangups that are in themselves, won't address that. And because I've been through the process of facing myself and my issues and the stuff in me that doesn't line up with the word of God and not kind of coming up with elaborate, I don't know, mental tricks or fool, I don't know, elaborate um pave overs, kind of just paving over it, kind of putting it under the table type stuff, workarounds, whatever you want to call it, but just went right through what my issues were and dealt with it and faced them. Because I've went through that process, when I see somebody who hasn't, it's very obvious. You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, you could have a person who's 16 years old in physical age, but spiritual age, they're way above that. And like I said, you could have somebody who's 70, but spiritually they're just 15, 16, 7 years old, whatever. And like the physical age is the physical age, but the spiritual age shows in um areas of life. Like in a responsibility area, you could be right at what your age is, but in dealing with conflict or, in a lust area, in the lust department, I see a lot of men. They're 15, 16 years old, just going through puberty. That's the age they're stuck at in that department. They're hindered there in in the lust department. I was for years where I felt like a 17-year-old where I couldn't control myself or whatever. And you see a lot of men hindered in that area. Men 50, 60 years old, older, just never faced with, dealt with that area of their life. And one of the reasons because of that is because the tools to deal with that are not out there. They're not put out there. It's not taught because a lot of people haven't dealt with it. It's a heavy, powerful area to face. The other thing, a lot of men are feminized. I talk a lot about men being feminized, and a lot of women been brainwashed into being masculine, and I just see a lot of people hindered in that area, and they're again overcoming this stuff. It doesn't get taught. It's not taught on. You rarely find anybody really teaching straight up spiritual combat, frontline warfare, dealing with these demonic oppressions and possessions and this hardcore stuff. They'll give you some, cast the demon out and all that crazy. But I'm talking about really getting your mind right, not all the show and theatrics with going through all this stuff, but actually getting your mind right. What the Bible scriptures that talk about it, which God talks about. I heard a good message recently is the sacrifice God used to have was, your most valuable bull and the most valuable stuff to you. He'd make you sacrifice it. So you think and look at yourself and say, look, I need to get my mind right. Well, Israel's so hard headed, they just keep sacrificing. Hey, I guess I got sacrificed. They wouldn't look at themselves. But in God's new covenant, his sacrifice is a broken spirit and a contrite heart. Just true, earnest, sincere regret for what you've done, and not just paying lip service to it, but truly showing it in your actions and really meaning it in your heart that you want to turn from that thing. And like I always say, pray, fast, seek the Lord. That's what I did when I was going through my spiritual combat with lust and porn addiction and alcohol addiction and the other stuff I was struggling with. I truly repented of it. I truly did not want to do it anymore. And I would sacrifice whatever I could. I'd stop eating. I'd skip meals in the name of getting this thing off me. And lo and behold, it left like that with no effort. You know what I'm saying? And that's how God works. I have videos on it. I need to do more on it. I'm gonna do a video very soon on the sacrifice God requires. Just a broken spirit and a contrite heart, just like that Molly Music. The kind of he's a gospel singer, but he has a song "Broken Spirit, Contrite Heart." A good song, but that song's right on point with what needs to happen. You got a lot of people be like, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry about it." Oh yeah, he repented. No, that's not. Repenting is actually turning from what you're doing and showing sincere regret. How do you show that? You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, he just paid lip service to it. That's just talk. That's common sense, But you gotta, like, when somebody's repenting, there's no doubts about it. There's no questioning it. It's obvious. You don't have to guess. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but a lot of people, like I said, their spiritual age and their physical age, it's to, after going through that process, it's a very painful process. Your flesh resists being observed and it resists, it fights being looked at and scrutinized. It fights that. The spirit is against the flesh, you know what I'm saying? So, it's easy. It's very easy to just kind of write it off and fool yourself into thinking you're good, and it's not an issue. It's so easy to do that. It's so tempting to do that. So that's when I'm dealing with somebody, when I see somebody, it's like I'm not totally mad because they're hindered in their spiritual development. I'm not pissed off at them because I understand the battle. I mean, my whole channel is named after this battle, spiritual combat. It's warfare. It's a spiritual war. And that's why it's fatigue colors, why I always wear this stuff, because I'm at war. It's a war. So when I see somebody and they're hindered in their development, it's not a bunch of anger and malice towards them. It's understanding, but if they're not choosing to change, I'm not messing with them like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but anyway, yeah, I'm gonna do another video. Matter of fact, I'll probably do it right after this one on just a broken spirit and a contrite heart, and go into that a little bit because I covered it pretty good in this one, but maybe I'll go in a little more in depth on that. But anyway, check out some of my other videos. I'm on Facebook and YouTube, Spiritual Combat. If you want me to do a video on a particular topic, just hit me up. Send me a message or put something in the comment on YouTube. I check them all the time. And have a nice day.